Hi there, welcome to a short video on how to care for your violin. So we've got the case open, let's see what's underneath here. Okay, so this cloth is just to protect your violin, give it a little bit of extra cushioning while it's in the case. Let's check out our kit. We have in the box here our rosin, a pencil for marking in anything that might be useful in your music, and a spare set of strings. This is not vital, but it's quite useful. Here we have shoulder rest and a cloth for cleaning the violin and your bow. So we have the whole violin kit. So taking out the violin with 2 eyes and 2 hands, we just lift it out gently. Okay. Let me show you how to put the shoulder rest onto the violin. Now always do this somewhere soft, like your lap. Just going to pop a cushion there so that you can see easier. Now the shoulder rest fills the gap between the collarbone and the underneath of the violin. This end is further away from the collarbone, so you would need to have the little legs longer this end and shorter this end. And if you have this sort of style of shoulder rest, then that gives you a little bit of flexibility in order to be able to make these little legs at the end here either longer or shorter, depending on your shape. We're all different shapes, let's remember. Now, if we turn to the back of the violin, got a happy smile that way and a sad smile that way. This is the way that we need it, okay, on the bottom of the violin. Some people will have it positioned directly across the violin. Some people will have it like this and others like this. It all depends on what's comfortable for you and what works best in terms of supporting the violin comfortably so that you can play easier. Okay, so let's pop this on. We start with the feet at the bottom. These are the little feet, little rubber feet here. We put them at the bottom where it's at its narrowest, and then let's slide it up this way. Okay, so that we're using the diagonal version today with a sad smile. If I show you sideways on, you'll see that this particular shoulder rest can swivel. Some of them do that. And if you don't have a shoulder rest, then a sponge, usually on this side of the violin, just held on with an elastic band, is sufficient for when you're first learning the violin. So when we put the violin up onto the shoulder, you can see how that supports from between the underneath of the violin and the shoulder blade. And I'm just going to twist that there so that it's comfortable for me. And then I've got lots of flexibility up here. I don't need to worry about dropping the violin. So when you finish playing your violin, you need to make sure that you keep the strings nice and clean. So let's take the cloth and just gently cleaning the string. Oh, can you hear that? That's a build-up of rosin. And when you get too much of a build-up, it will affect the feel of your bowing and it will affect the quality of the sound. So we always try and keep our strings nice and clean. And the rosin gets everywhere. It's very dusty once it's gone from the bow onto the violin, so we can clean all the way up there and underneath the strings as well. Gently, don't force it. Okay, and then we have a nice clean violin ready for next time when we want to play. And also it's quite nice to have a clean looking violin, isn't it? Right, so we pop the cloth back in to the case. And now let's take the shoulder rest off. This is very easy to do. Don't worry about damaging the violin, because if you have little rubber feet on your shoulder rest, they're there for a reason, and that's just so that they don't scratch the violin. So we gently take that off and put it back into the case. And with 2 eyes and 2 hands, the violin goes back into the case. And I'm going to strap it in with its seat belt so that it doesn't clonk around inside the case. The cloth will go back on the top to protect the violin, just give it a little bit of extra cushioning. and then we close the case. Now at this point, remember, you need to zip it up. So zipping from both sides, there and there. Now, when you're storing your violin, don't leave it anywhere where it's going to get hot and cold. For example, if you have underfloor heating, don't leave it on the floor, don't leave it near a radiator or in direct sunlight where it's going to get very hot, and don't leave it in a boot of a car for any length of time, because all of those things will affect the tuning and they're not good for the violin. So try and keep your violin in a place where it's going to have pretty much an even temperature for all of its life. And then you're good to go.